Hey, what's going on, future CWIs? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. My channel mainly focuses on Part B of the CWI, and my goal here is to make you guys a CWI on the first try. So share, subscribe, and strike that like button for more content. Hey, what's going on, future CWIs? Here's another hot video my loyal subscribers have been asking me to do. So we're going to take the time to talk about the type of questions that you guys will see on Part B pertaining to WPSs, PQRs, and some helpful tips to help you guys get through this part of the exam. But before we get into the video, I'm happy to share that I will now be offering CWI Part B replicas to assist you guys during your journey. This purchase will be bundled with my Part B practice test, and you'll also get 50 questions that go along with the replicas to better prepare you guys for the hands-on practical exam. You guys won't find this deal anywhere. I have limited stock, so go ahead and check out my website to place your order. So first things first, a lot of people not familiar with a WPS or a PQR always ask which one comes first. So for the beginners, let me clarify. Before a WPS is made, the PQR has to be created. And for those that don't know how the PQR works, it's basically a formal, detailed document used in welding to record the essential variables and test results required to demonstrate that a specific WPS can produce a sound weld. It's an essential part of the welding qualification process, ensuring that the welding procedure can meet the required mechanical properties and performance standards for a particular application. And that's just me summing things up in a nutshell. Once the PQR is created and welded, it goes through destructive and non-destructive tests, such as tensile test, bend test, and hardness test to verify the mechanical properties of the welds. Once the PQR is established and validated, the WPS is written. The WPS uses the data from the PQR to outline the specific instructions for the welders, such as the preheat temperature, welding processes, filler metals, and the positions. So these are just the basics about WPSs and PQRs. Now let's see the type of questions that you guys will encounter on the exam, because there will be a good amount of them on your Part B exam. Okay, so here are the first set of questions that you guys may encounter during your Part B exam. Question number 1. What welding process or processes may be used with WPS SMAW-2000-1? A. GTAW, B. FCAW, C. GMAW, D. SMAW, or E. Both A and D. Okay, so in this scenario, the first step that I would take is to review the PQR. So let's go ahead and pull it up to identify the welding processes used during qualification. So under welding processes and type, it's clear here that GTAW and SMAW was used. Next, let's cross-check the WPS to confirm it also specifies GTAW and SMAW. So same deal here. On the WPS, you need to find welding processes and type. It's also clear here that GTAW and SMAW was used. So the correct answer would be E, GTAW and SMAW. Question number 2. What weld or joint design or designs may be welded with WPS SMAW-2000-1? A. Single or double V-groove welds only. B. Square groove welds and V-groove welds. C. Single V-groove welds. Or D. Bevel groove, V-groove, and fillet welds. Okay, so for this question, I would again start by reviewing the PQR. So let's pull up that document and go to the section that calls out the joint design to verify what type of joint it was qualified to. So under groove type, it clearly shows a single V-groove. Next, I will check the WPS under joint design to ensure it also lists a single V-groove. So it looks like we confirmed that it also states single V-groove. So both documents align, so the correct answer is C, single V-groove welds. One good tip is to ensure that you know where to find all the information on the WPSs, PQRs, and the WQTRs. It will save you time during the exam. You don't want to be bouncing around looking for something that's clearly in front of your face. For example, if they're talking about the polarity or voltage, don't be looking for that information under filler metals. You should know that information should be found under the electrical section of a WPS or a PQR. Question number 3. A welder is depositing final weld beads on the cap. What is the max width weld beads he is allowed to deposit in accordance with WPS SMAW-2000-1 Exhibit 1B if he was using an 1/8 inch diameter electrodes? A. 3/8, B. 1/4 inch, C. 7/16, or D. 1/2 inch, E. None of the above. Okay, so if you guys noticed, I like to review the PQR and cross-reference it with the WPS. So the process is the same. Let's pull up the PQR under technique. Let's see what the variables are there. So under oscillation, it states that the maximum width of the weld bead is 1/2 inch. Now let's pull up the WPS and look under the variables section and see what it states there. So under the stringer or weave bead, it states that the max bead width is 1/2 inch. So it looks like we got our answer. The correct answer is D. Question number 4. PQR SMAW-2000-1 Exhibit 1C is being qualified to support WPS SMAW-2000-1 Exhibit 1A and B. The PQR position of the joint is in the 3G position. Is this information correct? A. Yes, because the position of the weld is not an essential variable for WPS. B. No, because the 3G position is a plate position, not for pipe. C. No, the 3G position does not support welding in all positions. D. Yes, because position has no impact on the welding of the pipe integrity. Or E. None of the above. Alright, so for this question here, let's take a look at the PQR and see what position it was qualified to. So under position, take a look at row 17 and you can see that the PQR was tested in the 3G position. Now let's take a look at the WPS and see what it says. So under position on row 34 of the WPS, it states that the procedure was qualified for all positions. So it appears that there's some sort of discrepancy between both documents. But this is where you need to understand all the variables, especially Table 8 in the book of specs. If you carefully review Table 8, there is no mention of position. It's not an essential variable, so the answer would be A. Yes, because the position of the weld is not an essential variable for the WPS. Question number 5. A welder out in the field decides to utilize a 3/32 7015 filler metal for fill and cap using WPS SMAW-2000-1 Exhibit 1B. Is this acceptable? A. Yes. B. No. C. No. He must use what is specified on the WPS. Or D. Yes. The PQR calls out for low hydrogen electrodes, so it's acceptable. Okay, so for this question here, from what I read, the welder is out in the field and there's no information leading me to know that a procedure is needing to be qualified. So let's go ahead and take a look at the PQR and see what electrode was used during qualification. So on the PQR under filler metals, row 11, it looks like it was qualified using an 8018 electrode. So let's go ahead and take a look at the WPS and see what's allowed during production. So on the WPS under filler metals, row 23, check out the AWS number classification. It also calls out 8018. So to me, this seems like a production weld type of question, and as a general requirement, the welder must comply to the parameters of the WPS. So the answer is C. No, he must use what is specified on the WPS. Well, there you have it, future CWIs. Another video in the books. Keep studying, keep reading. The more you know, the more you guys grow, and a better chance for you guys to pass on the first try. Until the next one, my friends.